So they are planes that are perfectly oriented and aligned. And you can pick one of them, like for example, number 0. So it's a list item connector, and you say item, I don't know, I will say 5, which is the bottom one, which is this one. And then you can create an explicit rule, for example, like this. So I will make a rule connecting 5 to 2, which is a correct thing, like this. So I've got this one, and then I can create a rule like this, for example, explicit rule from curve. Well, this is a little bit too complicated for what am I doing, but I just want to show you. So it requires to know where the modules are. So these are the modules. And then it requires a curve. I can draw a line between these 2 points, point 1, point 2, and it draws a line, and then it makes a rule. And this is perfectly precise without drawing anything. But you can do a lot of other things here. So module L, connector 2 connects to module L, connector 5. And I've done it only by deconstructing the module. But there are many other ways how to create a rule. So for example, you can construct explicit rule like this. Source module will be this one. Target module will be the same one. Sorry. Source connector index, target connector index. Panel, and we've got the same rule. Then there is another way how to do it. I know that it's written like this, so I can say module L connector 2, module L connector 5, and this is again the same rule. And there is, what else can we do? Yeah, that's more or less it. That probably covers all the options, how to make an explicit rule.
So then, may I just jump into it? So then it seems to me the more precise thing is to just type it in the panel and use it as it is, because it's exact.
Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. Cool. You can do it like that, or you can, like, there are many options. This is a super simple module. I will make it a little bit more complicated. So like this, and I don't know. Yeah, okay. My Rhino stopped working. So like this. So it's way more complicated than it was before. And just by looking at the number, I don't know which one is which. Before I knew that the number 2 was downwards, number 5 was upwards, or vice versa. Doesn't matter. But now I've got a lot of connectors, and I don't know which one is which, and I only see the colors. And that's not really usable or useful here in Rhino. Sorry, in Grasshopper, because, well, you don't see the colors. But you can deconstruct the module, and then you've got all the connectors here. Those are the connectors, and they are planes, and they've got normals. But you can even look at the directions of the connectors, like this. Like there is another output here, and you see the direction as a vector, which direction it goes. And if I want to select all the vertical connectors, then I need to check whether I know vertical vector looks like this. Okay. Vertical vector is this 1 0 0 0, and I will check whether they are equal, whether this vector equals this vector. This gives me a pattern, true and false. Well, no, it's only checking the length of the vector. So no, even this one. Why is that? Okay, so probably Grasshopper cannot compare two vectors, only numbers. So I will check the dot product of, which is more or less an angle of a vector. And I want to see when the angle is basically 0. And I think that it's 0 when the dot product is 1. Okay, so I'm looking for those. I'm measuring angle between a z vector. I can use the z vector. Between z vector and the vector telling me the direction of the connector. When the angle is 0, when they are identical. Let me see if there is a comparison of vectors, and I think there is not. Vector. Yeah, the fastest thing is to use the dot product. When the dot product is 1, then they are identical. So I'm asking whether dot product is 1. And if it is 1, then it gives me pattern true or false. And I only want to keep those that are true. So I will call pattern like this, connectors, call pattern. And this only gives me the top connectors, the ones that are on the top. And I can have another module somewhere. I will just make a whatever module different. Set 1 point. Construct module. Let's call it whatever. Like this. So I've got another. Yeah, this is like this. And I want to connect all the top ones to number 5 here. So what I can do is there's a lot of things I can do, but I can deconstruct this. Deconstruct module. I made a typo, so let me just take it from here, deconstruct module. And I know that I need number 5. List item. Like that. And then I could draw a lot of lines between all the ones on top and this one. So these are the connectors here. So I want to allow the connection of all that are on top with this one that is on the bottom. And then I can create a rule based on a curve. So I need to collect all the modules like this. So this is one module. I've got 2 modules. This is 1. This is 2. Just to be sure, I will flatten. And these are the curves. And it eventually gives me this many connectors like this. And now I can change the shape of this one. For example, I will make it even like this. And it still selects all the ones that are pointing upwards, and it creates all the rules here. But there are easier ways how to do this. For example, when I have the pattern, whether it's up or down, I basically know that I'm probably disconnected. Is that correct?
We hear you.
Yeah, but with the other computer, nothing is happening, right? No, it's not.
Yeah, you're right.
The other computer is disconnected.
Yep.
All right. That's strange. I will connect through the other connection. So you can always create. Oh, you're back. There are always many ways how to create a rule or rule. So another. So I've got a pattern here telling me whether the connector points upwards or downwards, and they are numbered. So I just need to make series of numbers. The amount of numbers is the number of connectors. List line. Like this. Count. So now I have, how many connectors do I have? 50. So I've got numbers from 0 to 50. I will call the numbers like this. I will just remove everything here. Okay. So here I've got numbers of the connectors that are pointing upwards. So it's number 1, 6, 10, 14, and so on. 1, 6, 10, 14, 18, and so on. Here I know that the one pointing downwards is number 5 for the other one. And then I can create a rule, actually a lot of rules. I can construct explicit rule. So it needs a source module, which is the one that I have here. So this is the source module. It needs the indices of, am I offline again? Yeah. Okay. So the source module as the first input, source connector index, it's the list of indices that I know are the source. Target module is this one. It's the other one. And target connector index is this one. And again, it gives me a lot of connections. That's another way how to do it. The same thing. And again, I can, this is already in Grasshopper and it reacts. So whatever I do, it still should work. And then there was another question that I've heard. Why doesn't it show which ones are indifferent? Before I answer that, I will show you something else. There is this preview rules component, just like in, okay, it's still not working. Okay, here we are. So just like with vectors in pure Grasshopper, there is vector display here. You don't see that like here. There is a special component for vector display because vectors are nowhere in space, which means you need to give another information to display the vector. You need to provide the vector and also an anchor where to display the vector. The same applies to the rules. The rule is just a text until you provide specific modules. So now if I provide all the modules, this one and this one, sorry, this one and this one. So these are my modules. These are my rules. And it displays the rules here. They are blue because they are vertical. So you can display rules. If they were like all sorts of directions, they would be all 3 colors. And now back to the question or a comment that it would be more useful if it showed which ones are indifferent. That's a misunderstanding because the rules are not part of the modules. So the module cannot display whether a connector is indifferent. There has to be, or unused, there is a separate collection of rules that is not part of the modules because you want to select them, sort them, add or remove parts of the rules. So the module doesn't know whether a connector is used or not. It cannot know because the rule is a separate thing. It's a separate data type. And you can do other things. You can generate an indifferent rule from unused connectors. And again, you need to provide 2 things. You see, you need to know the rules and you need to know the modules. So that's why you cannot do it just like that. Just like you cannot display a rule without knowing both the module and the modules and the rules. Also, you cannot know which ones are unused or indifferent when you don't know both of the things. So it's a combination of two things. That's why you cannot display it as a part of the modules or the rules. Now, I created a lot of indifferent rules, and I can display them. And that's what you probably need. And it even tells you that this is a rule that is indifferent. And it tells you here. So it's visible as a connection. So you see it as a connection. And you see that like things can connect one to another through an indifferent connection. The blue ones are from the bottom to the top and vice versa. And it even tells you in which direction it is happening. Right? Does it make sense why it doesn't show which connectors are indifferent? Simply because there are no indifferent connectors, but rather rules. Let me show you some more stuff, because there is a lot more to show. Meanwhile, I just want to say that meanwhile, during the break, I made another release because I found an error that I told you, and I added, and I also fixed the check for the maximum amount of module parts. So now it's not 200. Yeah, no, that's not it. I told you that the maximum number of module parts is 248. So yeah, this is getting a little bit slow. So I make it really huge. Still not big enough. I will make it even bigger. Okay. So now it's correct. It tells me that it shouldn't occupy more than 248 slots. So that's another thing that I updated. And also I added two more components. One is construct indifferent rule, and another one is construct rule at boundary. And that's something that I can show you probably on the previous example. So I will reopen the previous exercise. Open document exercise 1. And yeah. So there was this error before. It's not there anymore. So I fixed that one. So now we have to create the indifferent, the boundary. We were defining which connectors should be on the boundary using the points. But sometimes for simple modules, this doesn't really make much sense. So you can construct rule at boundary by defining a module. It's good to do it separately for each module. So this module is module X, and I know that I need to make it possible to be at the boundary, like don't see it, at 0 and 3. So I will say 0 and 3, like this, and it creates a connection for me, like this. So module X 0 and 3 are now allowed to be at the boundary. The same applies to the indifferent. You can construct an indifferent rule by defining a module and the number of which connector should be indifferent. So you will see that this one is now indifferent. So this is what I've done during the break. And I want to show you a couple of more things. I will open an example, but yeah. Are there any more questions? Don't hesitate. I will send you 4 files here into the chat. Let's see if you get them properly. Yeah. There are 2 files and 2 more are. Oh yeah, that's a huge file. Yeah, I will just edit one of them. So I will open the file, remove the unnecessary stuff from there, and send it again. The one that I'm opening is called Monoceros, and that's the one that we are going to use, but I just need to clean it up before I send it to you. It's really big. Yeah. So okay, you see that this is the file. It's just too big. Okay, like this. Ah, yeah, I removed something that I shouldn't have removed. Okay. So now I believe it's going to be smaller, and I can send it to you. Yeah, 1 megabyte. So if you if you can, please download this file, and I will show you what is it all about. So I will keep. It's not showing my Rhino, right? Only now the Rhino appeared.
Yes, but Grasshopper is opening.
That's weird. So in the file there are geometries like this, and I will try to build up something on top of this. So there is also a Grasshopper file, but we are not going to use that one yet. If you're interested, this is the layer called modules. So here, I will just measure the size of this geometry. It's 100. And I want this to become my basic unit. So basic module will be each one of them should be just one module part. So it means that the diagonal of my modules is 100. So it's 100, 100, 100. So it's 100 times bigger than we were before. Just don't forget to do this, because if not, it will just generate a huge amount of data, and probably your Rhino will crash. So really, don't forget to do this. Super important stuff. I will just write it down. Like this. Like this. So I will take this as a geometry into Grasshopper. Like that. Set multiple geometries. Got it there. And I want to create modules out of that. So first, I will plug in the module part diagonal because I know that it's going to be huge. Then I want to slice the geometry, but again, grid slot diagonal, it has to be 100, 100, 100. Otherwise, it will generate a lot of geometry, and we don't want that. It will crash your Rhino. Then plug in this, and it gives you central points for each of the future modules. I will plug in this. But now, to make it really simple, the simplest thing would be to graft. For those of you who don't know how to use data trees, anyway, I just want to ask, is there anyone here who for? I know I'm asking a little bit too late, but anyone who is a completely new to Grasshopper? Nope. Okay. If you are, there is a lot of tutorials that I recorded over the years. They are usually sold, but ArcSpace made them available to you for free. So ask Jiří to give you an access to the tutorials. And I'm explaining the data trees over there. For people from Umprum, let me know. If you haven't used Grasshopper at all before, I will give you the access to the tutorials for free.
Cool. Jan, just could you add the component that we will be able to see the name of the components?
Sorry, yes. So now when I graft this, it will generate a separate central point for each of these separately. And then it gives me a data tree where each branch contains the central points for one separate module. And I also need to provide module names. And I don't know how many modules will I need. So I will measure how many geometries do I have. The answer is 12. So I will make series and generate. I'm intentionally now trying to generate everything except the geometry itself. But with Monoceros, you're able to generate the geometry in Grasshopper. You don't have to draw it manually in. In Rhino. So I will concatenate, which means to stick together the word module, dash, and number, like this. So I've got a lot of module names here, module 0 all the way to 11. I need to graft, because each module should have its own individual name and its own individual branch, and plug it here. And all fits together. Another thing that I did with the new release is that the module name is much smaller than it was. So it's just 1/4 of the original size. Something like that. So it's not an obstacle anymore, I hope. So now we have a lot of modules. I can flatten the modules here. If you are unfamiliar to data trees, another thing that you can do is you can reference each one of these 12 modules separately and create the module on its own, just like we did before. Like we had 3 different construct modules. So you can do it here again the same way, but you need to do it 12 times. So now I've got 12 modules. And I need to define certain rules. And if you look at the shapes, like this one can connect to this one, obviously, because they would fit. But it cannot connect to this one because you see that they wouldn't match. So I somehow need to define them properly. So one thing would be to do it manually with the curves like I did before. So the easiest way would be to bake the modules, and I will do it. Bake the modules, and now I can snap from here to here. That's a connection that I want to have. But because not only this point, but the whole face is a connector, I can also draw this and this because it is really touching the face. It is there. Unlike the example before, here it is touching, so it works. So even this one and this one would work. Both of them are okay. So, but this would be a lot of manual work, and I also don't want to bake anything. I want to do something else instead, and that's something that I wasn't talking about before. There are two types of rules. One is explicit, which tells you you connect one face of one module to one specific explicit face of another module. That's what we usually do, and it all breaks down to this. But you can simplify your things, and you can say, I'm going to say that this connector is going to be described by a rule of a certain type. And it means that all the rules of certain type, all the connectors of certain type can connect to any other opposite connector of that same type. So if I say that this is going to be type, uh, uh, this is front left, because the connection happens in front left. Also this one and this one is front left. Then I can create a rule that describes this face like that. And the easiest thing to do is to, well, it's called a typed rule, and it looks like this. So I will say module 2, which is this one, connector index 5 is of a type front left. Oh, front left. And if you look at the output, it tells me something like this. Module 2 connector 5 is front left. This is kind of familiar because this is exactly what the indifferent rule is. It's a typed rule as well. It's just automatically generated, but it looks the same. So if I create an indifferent rule like this, construct indifferent rule, module name, source connector index, or connector index, it tells me that this one is indifferent, right? So I can describe all of them that are front left to be the type front left. And this would be too much work to actually click it. I can type it down. I can create some markers. I will create marker points. This is front left. Then this one is front left. This one is front left. Then this one is front left. And this one is front left. I should probably put it into some separate layer, just like because I want to hide it later on, not because Grasshopper would read the layer. It doesn't matter. It's just because I want to hide it. So cell points. I will select those points, take it to the Grasshopper. So set multiple points, and then I can create a typed rule from point here. It requires to know all the modules, these ones, all the point tags, and the name of the connection type. And here it gives me, as a result, it describes all the faces, all the connectors that will be marked front left. Now, they can connect to each other as long as they are opposite. So this one, module 2 connector 5 can connect to module 2 connector 2. Module 5 connector 5 can connect to module 2 connector 2 because they are opposite. So this works. And I need to do it for all 4 combinations that I have here. So front left, front right, rear left, rear right. I just know that I've done it before. So this is going to be And again, you see that the markers don't have to be in the middle of the face, but they have to be on the face. And because I was working precisely, I know that I can snap to my geometry. Not only that, if you work precisely, then the result can be welded, and otherwise it wouldn't be welded. So what I call type A in this file is rear left. Again, the uh, the layers have nothing to do with what I do in Grasshopper. Unlike before, the previous WFC solver, it worked with the layer names. This one doesn't. So I can name it whatever. I just want to make it clear to myself. So type B was the one that I created manually. So I will delete the layer. Yes. Type C is this one, which means it's rear right. And type D would be front right. Like this. So now I only need to reference them. Like that. Front right. This. Select objects, front right. Set multiple points. Then rear left. And rear right. Rear left. Select objects. Okay. So now these are, now I have described all the typed rules between these modules. I should merge them. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that this is a data tree I can flatten because I don't need a data tree. Yeah, I'm flattening explicitly. So let's do it that way here. Flatten. And I can display the rules now. So I need the modules. I need the rules. And you see that all of them are blue because they are all in vertical. And you see that they are even described where did they come from, rear left, and so on. Now, this still wouldn't work because I need to, I don't have the spatial envelope. That's one thing I need to create. So I will, I've got something ready here in layer 2. And this was for my testing because this is a complicated setup because there is a hole. So I can use this as my envelope. Interrupt me if you want to ask anything. All right, so I will. Now, don't forget that you need to set the grid slot diagonal because otherwise it will crash your computer. Geometry, it still probably takes a long time. Well, it wasn't so bad. I will save the document because this might be a little bit too risky not to save. Then I can create slots that allow placement of anything, and also the slots, they need to be of a certain size. Grid slot diagonal. So you see that we've got the grid slots here. Cool. And there's a lot of them. How many? 25,000. So this is a huge setup. So if you don't have a really fast computer, maybe just scale it down before you do anything. So I've got slots, I've got modules, and I've got some rules. I'm still missing some rules. Specifically, I'm missing the indifferent rules. And not only that, maybe try to think about what sort of rules am I still missing, except the indifferent ones. So I will generate the indifferent rules for those connectors that are not used yet. Just like before, I need to provide all the modules, all the existing defined rules, and add them to the collection. So I need to make a collection of all the rules. Now, if I display this, it's probably going to be really slow, but I will do that. So there is a lot more rules now, because now all the side walls can connect to all the other side walls, like that. And I'm still missing something for this to work. Anybody knows what am I missing? This wouldn't work. I'm still missing something. We can give it a try. Anyone knows? Rows, modules, slots. And I believe it crashes. Correct. I also updated this error message during the break. So it actually tells you what we need to do. Anyone? Yuri?
No idea.
So it tells you Monoceros solver failed, world state is
I
contradictory.
know. Maybe.
Try changing slots, modules, rules, or add boundary rules. And that's what we need to do. Because right now, there is no module that would be allowed on top and bottom of the whole envelope. And we've got tops and bottoms here, on the bottom here, and all over this whole. So there are bottoms here as well, and tops here. And there is no slot that would be allowed there. It's not a problem on the sides, because the sides are indifferent, and so is the envelope. The envelope is indifferent. So we need to do something about it. And what I did with this example, what I was testing was that I just wanted to make sure that the topmost and bottommost layer only contains straight lines like these. So I only allowed these straight modules to be on the bottom and on the top. And I can do it easily because I already have some point tags there, and I will just add the point tag on the top and on the bottom. Or I can say that all the faces can here, all the connectors can be on the boundary. I've got two options how to do it. I can construct rule at boundary just by defining the module and source and connector indices. So I can do it like that, or I can do it using a point, which is boundary from point. And I think it's easier to use the point. So I will plug this here. The point tags I already have here in the layers for the rules, so I can reuse the points, these points. So I'll take the points here, set multiple points, point tag, and this generates a rule that says that module 1 connector 5, which is here, module 1 is this one, connector 5, which is this one, connects to outer module, which is cool. and I will add it to the collection of all the rules that I have. So I will add it here, save, and see the result. And I hope it gives me some result. But it might take a while because this is a huge envelope. Cool. In 10 seconds, it seems it did find the solution like this. So it found the solution on the first attempt. It had to do almost 25,000 observations. And yeah, there is 383 rules and 13 parts. 13 because there is an out module, which is also a part. So now I will just hide everything except this solution. You see that all the slots are green, which means that they all know which module should they contain, which is very cool. And now I can materialize the result, which is this component, materialize. So I need to provide all the modules. I need to provide all the slots. And wait a bit. I'll hide it here. And nothing happened. Why is that? Oh, yeah, I know why that is. Do you know, looking at this, do you know why I don't see any result? Nope. I forgot one very important thing. I am not providing any production geometry. So the modules themselves, they don't contain any geometry at the moment. So if I want the materialized to work, I need to also provide the geometry. And this is another thing, that the geometry is completely detached from the modules. The module can contain any geometry. I'll plug it here, wait a couple of seconds because it needs to recalculate, and then it needs to materialize. And with this amount of geometry, it will take a while. And here we go. So the good thing is that you see that what it created are continuous pipes or lines. And if I worked very precisely, then I can take the result and join. So flatten tree like this, and then join. And now they are like super short. All of them are super short. This is one module, this is another module, this is another module, and so on. But if I join curves like this, then because I worked precisely, you see that now this one is one continuous curve because it can join. It can join the parts because they fit precisely one on another. And eventually, I ended up having 684 pipes here. If I look from above, because I only allowed things to be connected vertically, there is no intersection. They are never overlapping, like jumping from one column to another. And they always appear in one column, and you see that not all of the sides of the column have to be filled. But maybe we can see it like this as well. So there is like one continuous column. Each pipe, each line is one continuous column. So there is another thing that I wanted to say. I just don't know right now, but yeah, this is more or less it. Yeah. Any questions here at this point? I will do one more thing with this, and then Christina, if you could take over afterwards, it would be awesome. Maybe people will ask you questions easier than me, so maybe we can do that. So one thing that I want to point out is that you see that now every single module contains some geometry. And that's actually what wave function collapse does. It makes sure that every single slot is filled with a module. But sometimes you want to keep some gaps, and maybe you don't want to keep them, but you need to keep them. Oh, I know what I wanted to say. I just wanted to show you that because only the straight lines are allowed on the top and bottom, I made sure that all of the modules on top are the straight ones and the same on the bottom here. So it never ends up with this S shape. So empty module. Empty module is also a module. It's a module that has no geometry, just like the mistake that I made here, that I didn't plug in any geometry here. So I can generate an empty module manually, or there is a ready-made component here called construct empty module. But this is the same thing as making it manually. I just need to define the module part diagonal, and it creates an empty module. It physically does exist, so that I can allow connections between the empty module and other modules, so that I can draw it. But there are other algorithmic ways how to define connections between some module and empty module. The good thing is that the empty module is automatically, now it contains the shape because it's overlapping with another module. There is another module at the same place. You see there are two modules, one on top of another. So I need to move it a little bit. So I will move it to minus 200, 100, 00, because by default it's on world origin. So I moved it away so that we can see it better, but there is no interference, because in this case it wouldn't do anything. So now I can add the empty module to the collection of modules. I will just stop the solver like this. And also here automatically generates indifferent rules for the empty module. So all the faces are by default indifferent. There are rules for that. And I can add these indifferent rules to the existing rule set. Wait, either here, or I think it actually would be nicer here. Both of them would work. So eventually, I'm adding to the collection of modules an empty module, and I'm making sure it's indifferent. So you can find an empty module next to any indifferent module. In our case, we will probably have some empty columns. Well, certainly it's going to be like that. Empty module is quite important because if you have modules that are very complex in shape and consist of many parts, it might happen that it's impossible to assemble those modules together without any gap. Therefore, you need an empty module that fills the gaps. And let's see, and it seems, yeah, there is, yeah. So you see some of the columns are empty, and that's because we added an empty module here, like that. But I've got another example, which is called, what I also sent you, it was the Mondieu dense. And that one is very risky because that calculates really slowly. And maybe you can have a look at that one. I will open it here. And that one doesn't work without the empty modules. Well, probably it could work, but it doesn't. And if your setup is really intense on the computation and it's very rare, you very rarely find the solution, then first thing I would do, I would try to add empty module so that the solver can leave some parts blank. I will just try to open it, and let's see whether the file that I sent you, whether it's ready to be opened as it is. It's this Mondieu dense, and also open document, Mondieu then an ellipsoid. Yeah. And here, the difference here is actually quite significant. So I think it doesn't even need the Rhino file, but yeah. So you see that now this is more granular. So the modules are made of more parts, and this is quite good because you can imagine that right here to this saddle I could add another perpendicular module that would just go like this one, for example, or this one. This module can be placed here. And actually, one thing that this is quite inefficient because all of these are the same, and I've got every single one of these I've got twice. So maybe this could be simplified a lot, this example. But this allows for a different result. And one of the differences is what I told you, that they could like sit one on another like this. It wasn't possible before. But also the result, it doesn't have to be in one column, because it can jump from one column to another. So it basically creates something that is pouring from top to bottom, but then also it can like interweave nicely. And again, on the top and bottom, I'm only allowing the straight parts. So I will show you what do I mean by not being just a vertical column. Join curves. This list item. So this gives me altogether 50 different lines and curves. And you see, like this one, this is not a vertical column. You know, it jumps from one to another, and so on. So it's weaved way more than the other one. But this is something that wouldn't be possible without making this a little bit more complex and using modules that are that consist of more module parts. And the thing is here that it takes 1.2 seconds to solve, and there are only 1,300 slots. And in the example before, it took 9 seconds, but there were 25,000 slots. This is much more difficult to solve. The solution here is much more difficult. And if I make it slightly bigger, maybe it wouldn't find the solution. And that's another thing that I could show you. Right now, I'm only allowing 10 attempts to find the solution, and it already needed 9 attempts to find the solution, which is a good sign. It means that my setup is good and it can find the solution, but it's more difficult to do so. So maybe if I make it even bigger, the 10 attempts that I'm allowing will not be enough. So one thing I can do is I can change the number of attempts. Another thing that I can do, you see, it didn't find a solution. So it gives me just a partial solution like this, which is not good. It's red all over the place, but it gives me some partial solution. But there is something contradictory, and you can see it here. There will certainly be a slot that is, the green ones are solved. The white and gray ones are unsolved yet, so they are in a state where some sort of uncertainty, like we have in the examples here. So they are still in this sort of a state somewhere here. And there will be one slot certainly that will be red. And I don't know, I don't see it right now, but there will be exactly one, and that is contradictory. And the contradictory slot is a slot that cannot contain anything. And if that happens, then there is this is a failed solution. And this configuration failed to find a good solution within 10 attempts. each one of the 10 attempts ended up with one slot being red, a slot that doesn't allow placement of anything. But you see how does it proceed internally? The green ones are solved. The black ones are almost solved, and the white ones are not touched at all. So they still allow placement of everything. The darker it is, the closer to the solution it is. And you see how did it proceed? I find it kind of fascinating, the color distribution. So one thing I can do is I can increase the number of attempts. I can change an experimental feature called Shannon entropy. I can change the way it calculates the way the algorithm works, but it doesn't always guarantee a better solution. It's just always much lower, and it's not always a good choice. Or I can change random seed, and I can be more lucky with the random picks that are happening inside. Random picks where to make an observation and what the observation should be. This is the observation. So I will leave you with that. I will maybe connect again when I'm done with my other call. Meanwhile, I will try to find the solution for this, and Christina, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe before you leave, could you send us the files also to the chat?
Sorry?
If you could send us the Grasshopper and Rhino files, what you just did.
I did already.
I mean, the latest version.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I will do that.
Oh.
I just don't know where it is. So I need to look it up. All right.
Yeah. So, questions for Christina?
I have a proposal that somebody can share his screen and show us what he has. Because I think it will be now more useful if you show me something what you have, because you already heard so many information and so many examples that I think it's not necessary to add more, if you agree with me. So maybe if some...
Yeah, and definitely, you know, this is the time to solve your problems, because if it doesn't work now, it's better to solve it now than wait for tomorrow, right?
I feel like I need to watch everything again, so I will wait for the video and maybe ask something.
Well, I understand it totally, but if somebody has just like I don't know, a little of this example, you can just share the screen and show to all of us, and we can solve it together. Try to debug it.
Yeah, because you know, if you have troubles, maybe others have the same, and we can solve it for all of us.
And also, if it doesn't work at all, or you can also share your screen and show us.
I have like a small question. Like it's maybe you explained it, but like I don't know. Like, but I will ask anyways. Like in the boxes, like when you connect these, like let's say two modules with each other, but you said like they need to be in the kind of like same position to be connected to each other. But how do you set up that connection? I mean, like the position in the box exactly where it should be, on the left or on the right or on the. So at the first, like at the beginning, when you start with the, let's say you make a curve, and how do you define that it's on one side or on the other side, or maybe it's a basic question, but I don't know. So.
Okay, I think I understand your question. May you share your screen, or because I have a different example here.
I don't have it. Like
I don't have it.
Like for example, these like when you were when Jan was doing like these 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, like maybe I can wait 1 second. Do you see it? like this, these ones.
Okay.
Like these ones, like where exactly the, well, okay, so the
A little bit
position
slower your camera. It's
the modules, like
you know,
these, like so
this space is scattered into the voxels. Like you don't see it, but everything is in a proper grid. And you set it at the beginning, but defaultly, I think it's like 100 to 100. So if you move the curve a little bit, and it will be on the boundaries, then it will occupy 2 slots. So you have to fit in this one slot of this big grid. I don't know.
like,
maybe I can draw
like,
it.
can you like show it like with one example, like, you know, making like one box, like one module, like, and you put one, like 2 of them in the exact same position. So how do you do that at the beginning? Like starting from scratch.
Okay,
you
okay.
Put, let's say, one line on the left side, and then the other one is also on the left side. Or
so I can start from the beginning. Just yeah, I have here example of Jan, the totally first one. Okay, blah blah blah. Okay, share screen. Well, okay, here we have modules. Sorry. And I'm thinking why it's not visible, because this module, the wing one, is in a box, and the box is the length.
If you unhide all the things in Grasshopper, it will show.
Yes, but maybe too many. Yes. Now you see, and if I move it a little from the no, come on, move. Okay, why is it moving? Or you see, I just get out of
like
the
when
box.
you have the snap, then it's kind of like
okay, I have a grid snap.
like it's difficult like to position it, like when you don't have the snap, and when you have the snap, then it's also difficult like to put it. So like, do you understand what I mean? So do you start
yeah,
like,
I understand
by
you,
making the box and then you snap it to the box, or you start like, how do you position these like in the exact same places? So I don't know if anybody feels like the same problem.
I can show you how I'm doing it. Maybe it's not the totally right way, but usually I make a box like with the dimensions of the basic grid which I want. So I say like 100. Okay, it's not 100. It's 10 or 1. Okay, it's 1, because I usually work with the scale of one slot 100, but it doesn't matter how it's big. I just show you where to find it. So I have this box 1 to 1 because here in the beginning, somewhere here, yes, this grid diagonal, you see here is 1, 1, 1. And another example, which we're gonna do tomorrow. It looks scary, but it's not so scary. I have 100. So it doesn't matter. You can put like a 70 or whatever you want. Okay. So I usually, I a little bit cheat, but I do it like this. I made a box, and then now I can snap. I can snap into this, because, okay, you also can like bake this virtual white curves. But at the beginning, I made it like without Grasshopper. Like we can switch it off and say this is my slot, and I can draw. I don't know what, like for example this, and I can snap, because I'm not a programmer. I am maybe more
okay, like
architect, and I work visually. So
okay,
I need
when you do the
something.
second one, how are you gonna put, like, you know, the end of this one and with the other one? So you will draw another box and then connect the end of the line with the other one or something like that?
Yes, and now, because defaultly, you know, this is the beginning of the world, and if you don't change the base plane, you can also do it. It's here, the base plane, but default base plane, it's here. Okay, I switch it off again, and then I manually move this into 1, 0, 0, 0. Sorry, I'm not precise, and move it.
And how did you change the position? I'm very sorry, I'm not so advanced.
It's the move command. I can have it here.
Yeah.
And it's the, you can see it here. I type
move. Okay, and then it asks
move command.
Coordinations. Okay.
And you know, snapping middle. You have snapping tool on. Now here you can switch on midpoint. And yeah, mid, and type 0, 0, 0. You can find it here. And enter. And I need to, because I wasn't able to snap it to the center, so I just need to move it a little bit, like half here. Because before I change it, whatever. Sorry, this is not my example, so I'm doing it a little bit messy. I'm sorry for that. Okay. And to move it like in a half down. Oh, good. And now I have the same bounding box. As I said, I do it manually. You see, now it's black, and under it is white. And now I can do these points. Again, I do it a little bit stupidly manually. Then you can make a point and put it in the middle of one of the side. Then select it, and then move it in the middle. And you can type it like, say, minus 0.5, like half, or you can do it by snapping. And now you have the point in the middle of this side. And then this point means that from this you can connect to another. You know, this thing I can copy, or you want another module, like, and it doesn't matter if you put it here or here or here, but still it has to be in the grid of the world. So I press Alt, and I type you know, some number which is the multiplication of the grid size. So for example, 5. And still it's in a grid. Do you understand me? That I can move it for like 2, and I'm still in a grid. Mm-hmm. You see, and I can make like a lot of components as I wish, but it's still in a grid. Do you understand me? What I mean? Yeah. Because the whole world is created from these little boxes.
And so you change this module like later, yeah? You
need to be just precise in this. When I copy these boxes, you see I'm still in this grid, but you just can't see this grid.
And later you change it to modules? Or... Sorry? Do you change the modules later to, I mean, these boxes to modules, or you make the inside as...
These boxes are just helpers now Only your geometry, what interests you first are these modules, which you refer manually to this script. And we here, Jan set 3 modules. So this is first module. I refer to the yellow, pink one. This is, I guess, the yellow module, and this is the third module. And because you refer it manually, it doesn't matter how many stuff you draw around, because I'm a messy person. Sometimes I draw like some helpers around and some ideas. So it doesn't matter. It just make a mess in your file. But for the code, it doesn't matter how many things you have around. So you can, okay, there's one unprecise thing.
But do you ever work with like construct like curve or construct point, and then you connect those? Do you work also like that? I mean, first you construct a curve in Grasshopper, and then do you ever work like that as well?
Now you are asking about the rule?
No, I'm asking about like, anyways, like I think I get it, but I will try also like with Grasshopper, I guess, like to be precise. Like I need to create these like different modules, let's say.
These different modules, actually, in the end, you don't have to draw anything in Rhino, and everything you can create in Grasshopper. Like, this curve also can be defined by some Grasshopper definition. But I don't know, I think more intuitive and easy, it's to draw it, like you see. I don't have to draw any of these, but it helps me because, I don't know, architects. But you don't have to do it. You can...
what you're asking is very correct. You can really generate all the inputs in Grasshopper, including the geometry, the points that define the modules, the rules. This is the power of Monoceros. You can completely automate this, and it could be a result of some automated process where I can see the easiest thing. The modules, it makes sense to draw them manually because they probably should represent something that exists in the physical world, something that you can make of wood or iron. But what makes a lot of sense to me is that you can generate the slots automatically. For example, this is what we are going to do in the studio. We can define the slots by some flocking behavior, and it creates some pattern, and that you stabilize and use it as slots. Even in reality, it makes a lot of sense to actually, you do have the modules, you buy them in off the shelf or prefabricate them, and then you are filling different envelopes with the existing slots. There is where I see the potential to use Grasshopper to generate the inputs.
Yeah. Yeah, some another question? Or now I'm looking at the definition, and just for summary, what was told, that this part is for world. Here you place cube or whatever you want. It can be more complicated shape. It can be whatever you want, but I recommend you to start with box or something very simple. Actually, this is the main rule. If you start with it, try to be as simple as you can, like also with these. And it can be very complex, like I ended up with 30 modules, and it can be very complex and work well, but you need to add by little steps, because sometimes it's not very intuitive, that you think, oh, it has to work, but sometimes it doesn't. And if you make little steps, it's easier to debug this stuff. So this part of definition, it's for world. Here is the slot for geometry, the result. Here you set the modules, like I said, manually. like the first one, second one, third one. And if you want another, you can, of course, continue. This merge together. Here, I set up rules. I can set up rules by curve, which I do manually. I draw it. So I draw the curve from the center. It has to be the center. You can check it always from the top view if you are correct. Like also it will help Yuri. Come on, top view. Okay, let's wait for a while. Okay, super fast computer. Yeah, you can check it from top view that now, okay, it's on the side of the box. Probably Yuri has the point somewhere here or here, or I don't know. So you can check it like this, and you can define the rule by like simply connect the sides. Let's say, okay, I want this side to be connected to this side, or this side I want to connect to this or this. So I just simply connect these sides, and it's also good to have the OSNet tool on. It will make your work a little bit easier, or it can be from points. So you put here only the points. For example, this one and this point I put here, and it will automatically make the curve between two. So it doesn't matter if it's points or curve. And now I have these rules, I merge them together, and everything, the modules and rules, I put into this red one, red solver. So it was just for rules. I don't know. You should maybe ask, because I think you had so many information that you don't have more today. Well.
Yuri, shall we assign some homework for tomorrow?
Definitely.
Okay. Do you have any idea?
Yes.
Anything you would like? Okay.
Everyone should make an example from the at least 3 modules with simple envelope, like the red thin line or simple surface or whatever volume. But it should be done and worked. And I'm just setting the G drive, so I will send you link, and there will be videos, and there will be also files from Jan.
About the assignment, yeah, use at least 3 modules, and just to make things easy, the envelope, if you make the envelope box-like, so not a sphere, not an ellipsoid, not something too complex, then it's easier to find the solution. So it will make your life easier to fill a box. Rectangular envelope. It makes everything easier. One thing, just a fun fact, we are posting screenshots from this workshop on Instagram, and Gilles Retsin keeps sharing the posts. So he knows that we are using his work to demonstrate the discrete aggregation.
Cool. So we should be really good and show some nice result, right? We should push the Retsin forward.
No, we are spot on. So yeah.
Guys,
This is the contemporary stuff.
But really, guys, if you have troubles, I have. So ask, because we should solve it in this workshop. It's really pity if you. I have so much, and like kind of experience, and you know, if we have physical workshops, it's easier because we are going around, and then we can see what is on your screen, and we can help you and push you to solve the problem. And I have also experienced when we have online workshops that no one actually share the screen, and it's waiting that with video it will help, but you know, it's much more helpful if we can go through your troubles here, that it will also help the others because they probably have the same issue. And so we are here for you, so don't hesitate to ask if you have troubles.
I think that you will have to go through it yourself, and tomorrow morning you will start with Christina. I don't know if she is, I don't know, it's up to you, how do you start, but maybe we can do a Q&A session afterwards when I join in. I will join you halfway through the morning session, I guess, at around 12 or so, I will join you.
Cool.
Okay. I prepared for you one example. I try to be a little bit opposite of Jan, that he showed you a lot of options and a lot of examples and ways. And tomorrow I would like to give you one example and just play with this. And at the morning, I will send you the definition and the Rhino. So, you know, the points will be in the centers and anything else. And so it should work. And then I just will show you how to change it a little bit to make different results. So we will play just with some cute little geometry. So I hope it will be fun. And also, yeah, you can prepare some questions, and I hope I will answer simple, you. Yeah. So we can start with the questions at the morning, or we can wait for Jan, as you want.
Just show me.
It's a little bit depressing, this silence.
Yes, it is.
Like everyone is dead.
We are not dead. We are concentrated.
Destroyed by Monoceros. Okay, it's really powerful animal. Okay, guys, I put it on the chat, the link to the G drive, and video is still processing. So even from the first session. So
could you upload the files as well? Like, did you already? Yeah. Okay, perfect.
But probably I still do not get the files from Jan, but immediately when I will get them, I will post it there.
Like, all of them, yeah. So through the video.
And maybe, Jan, could you also add the final Rhino file, because you bake it the points, so people who doesn't have these points will have troubles. Or you can upload it into the drive, right? So it's done for today, and let's see tomorrow. What do you think?
It's okay for me. If you feel like you got any questions or comments, we can still discuss. What are yours?
I was just thinking, like, you know, the modules, like the beginning, like file, the pictures you showed from the book. It would be really like nice if you could go like, you know, with that and make it 3D. It would probably make it easier, kind of like exactly the same thing, but in 3D. It would make it like, you know, easier kind of to understand maybe at the beginning. Yeah.
If you look into the book and you've got the link, there are pages that are showing how to start really, and we developed a couple of exercises for starters, and the recommendation is like this: you start super simple. You make the simplest possible envelope, a cube, with 5 times 5 times 5 units, or 10. 10 is a good number because it's an even number, and even numbers are usually better than odd numbers. It's because well, depends. But anyway, yeah, because when you have modules that are that have even number of parts in one direction, you cannot fill an odd numbered envelope. That's why even numbers are good. But vice versa, it's not true. It's better to use even numbers. Anyway, so the good start is to have super simple envelope, and then you start with one module only, and it could be a straight line, a vertical line, and you set it up so that it actually fills the entire envelope with the straight line, and then you start start playing with the rules. Still, the only option that you have, the only output would be the entire envelope filled with this straight vertical line, but you can define that in different ways, and then you add another module, like for example, a horizontal line, and these cannot connect. They can still fill an envelope, and you can try to configure your setup so that it still works, and this helps you to understand. And once you have this, then you can create maybe an L shape, just like we did, just not horizontally, just vertically, and then make it work. And then you have already three modules, and it does something. And it's much easier to go like this rather than start with 25 different modules and try to connect everything, and it doesn't work, and it's frustrating. So if you start really slow and easy, then it's like with Karate Kid. Then, like, you train yourself in it.
They're frozen.
How to?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my connection. Anyway, I was just saying that maybe this boring exercise takes 1 hour, but then you get the sensitivity, and then you start understanding. I have to do this. I cannot do this. I rather do that, and it gives you some results. And once you start really understanding the tool, you can start doing architecture with the tool, or design, or art. And this is the main point. It's not about just knowing the tool, but what it allows you to generate with it.
And I really support this idea because, like, my experience, the hard time at the beginning, it's necessary to go really into the next step, and then it's mesmerizing what you can do, really. But I had the big help by Christina, so but my experience was at the beginning. We did this workshop in December, and so it was working somehow. But then I tried my kind of things, and it wasn't working. Then Christina shows me how many connectors you need, and it was surprising for me. Like, if you really, and that's the reason, if you start with really kind of 5-7 modules, it expands really into, I don't know, 25, 100 connectors, whatever. So really start with 3 or 2, really simple. And then adding more, and then, It's like, when you're trying to
also,
ride
if you
a
look at the
bicycle.
documentation, if you look at the documentation on the website, there is a frequently asked questions section, and if you look into that, I'm explaining how can you actually start using Monoceros and step by step, and like, what is the best start. So if it's the first answer of the frequently asked questions, 12.1. What is a good exercise to start using Monoceros?
I think this will help.
All right, but also prepare questions, and we can go through your.
You just jump.
At least we should cover the basics so that you can start using it, and then we can work with the advanced stuff.
I don't know, like maybe I don't know if it's the time or not, but I want to show you like about this music thing. Yeah. So like here I have a list of like all the 12 notes and their combinations.
Okay.
And how they in all major scales and minor scales, but not the other, weird scales like Japanese scales or not. And these are like 12 modules, and they have like exact rules like of communication. So like the half notes can have like 2 different scales, and it will be kind of like really nice to see it also visually, I think.
Okay, there is a good option. Once you define the rules, and the rules, it's easy to define the rules when you use the typed rules or some automated way. Then there is a component called well, I forgot how is it called. I will check immediately. A component that can visualize a rule, which means it just takes the modules and puts them together according to the rule. So you can make a catalog of combinations of couples, because you're always defining couples with a rule. And with this component, I just opened it meanwhile. It's called assemble rule. So you need to provide all the modules, all the rule that you want to visualize, and where should you visualize it. And if you find an easy way how to create those connection rules for the nodes, then it will be super easy for you to visualize the all the possible combinations.
And like I was curious about like this, boxes, like it's the combinations. I'm not sure. Like you have boxes and like 4 sides. I actually six sides, right?
Yeah.
6 sides, yeah. And when you connect like nodes, I'm not sure if it would work or not. Like because
you can only use one side for the connections.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like
and
you can
all
make
the other ones can be
12.
all the other ones can be indifferent. One thing you can do is the capsule pill. One part is white and one part is red, or whatever, and you can do that. You can have one module white, one module red. They are round on the outside, and they are allowed to connect like this, and everything else is indifferent. This basically fills the space with capsules like that. So you can do that couples of nodes, and you can eat them or play them if you only have couples. And if you allow the nodes to connect in this direction, that direction, you can have the world that is only two modules wide and goes as long in that direction. Then it creates a lot of couples of nodes for you. So it can do stuff for you.
And can you send that like module, like the is it plugin? What you were saying, this, what you just said, this
video in Prague.
This like what you just said about giving rules. Can you? What was the name?
It's called assemble rule. Assemble. And
is it a command or is it?
No, like it's a component in. It's a component in Monoceros.
Ah, okay, perfect.
I just wasn't showing that. It's in post processing.
Assemble rule. Okay. Assemble rule. Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Shall we call it a day?
Yes. So see you tomorrow at 10.
At 10? Yeah, at
11.
11. 11.
11 sounds better.
11 sounds okay. Okay, no problem. Okay.
Thank you for the attention and for the patience. And thank you,
Sure.
Christina.
Thank you very much.
It will be great, you know. Just go to the documentation. I'm already there and it's amazing.
I spent like 2 months writing it, and it's still not finished.
So see you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. See you.
Thank you very much.